charge them last week. Oh my gosh, Patty looked at me as this, I just like literally slapped children. Seriously.
If they go out, then we will.
If they go out, we'll do it in the dark because we're amazing.
It'd be eerie.
Okay. Well, oh, this is a podcast. Thank you. Hi. How
are we live?
How's everybody?
Are we on?
We're live.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Well, not live.
Oh, we're
It's
not
a
live,
podcast.
but we're.
Yeah.
Are we on?
We're on. So welcome to Living Your Best Life, which I think is the adopted name we have.
I think it is.
With Bennie.
And Valerie.
Siblings who are literally just attempting to live our best life. That's what we want to do and want to help you do it too.
Excuse you. Should we start all over?
Actually, that wasn't a burp. It was a frog in my throat. Like it got
Oh.
stuck and I tried to keep talking through it. It didn't work very well. So that's very nice. Yeah, so this is the podcast where one of us comes up with a subject and that frog came back.
One of us comes up with a subject and the other one does not know it until we bring it up to them. And then we chat about it and how, it could be anything random, but ideally what we want to do is show how we might strategize through something in hopes that it will help and encourage you all to do the same.
Yeah, and it's just two people who really care about this or trying to do the right things themselves. And so we don't consider ourselves experts.
No.
We just consider ourselves folks who are in this with you.
It's funny
trying to do the
because
best we can.
if you haven't listened to the first podcast, you will learn more why we decided to do this. But just to recap is that we both realized that we were on the same wavelength without realizing we were on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
It's like we've always gotten along. We've always learned how to communicate really well with each other. And then it was one day where we're like, whoa, we're both on this path of like trying to live our best life on a daily basis. And so
I know for me, I think it became more obvious when I started the life coaching stuff and started getting clients, and then I started doing a little more.
You started becoming more like me.
And then and then what was weird is that I all of a sudden, because I've never been active on social media, really, really, really active, and so I started to do things on social media, which, by the way, you can go and see me at Benny.Gonzalez on Instagram. So anyway, I noticed that you and I had the same kind of a thing, and then people had talked to me about podcasts. But yeah, you're right. They should go to the first episode of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I got to tell you about my day. Is that okay?
Please.
You nodded. It's a podcast. If they don't know, you nodded. Anyway, so I had clients this morning. One of them who didn't show up because the time zones were all messed up, because I get clients. Literally, this guy was in Europe, but
He was literally in Europe?
yeah, literally, as opposed to figuratively in Europe. He was literally in Europe. But anyway, the point is that I just had a few clients, and then I decided to go right outside and do my workout, which is always a little bit of a mistake because I prefer to eat first. But then I knew that we were going to be recording later, and then that messes me up for the rest of my day because I have to break it up in the middle, blah, blah, blah. And so I just said, I'm going to go without eating. And so, you know that today is what is typically called the shit show type stuff. So when I look up at people's podcasts, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss.
The podcast, or you mean workout?
We've never made that decision. But anyway,
when you look up podcasts or when you look up workouts?
No, the poop show. I called it the other word. Never mind. So the point is that I look up workouts that are really hard.
There you go.
I look up
That's what I was
workouts
trying
really
to-
hard. Oh, I said podcast.
You said yes. Thank you.
And so anyway, when you're not fueled, and then you go try to do a pretty hard workout, and it's hot, 78, I think, or something like that. Man, I was a mess today. I was such a mess. It's like, it's so funny. Sometimes I wonder, it's like, is this I know something's happening because it just sweat is
Yeah.
pouring off of me. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm going so slow. People that are watching probably are thinking, is he really doing anything? Because I'm moving so slow.
The heat takes a lot out of you. It really
I
does.
am not a heat
Especially
person.
if you're not. Especially if it's like that last minute. Okay, I'm going to go down and do this. If it's not already like.
And
yeah.
I wasn't, like I said, fueled. So I usually finish my morning client stuff. I usually eat. Then maybe I have another client or two, and then I go work out.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was, or I do schoolwork and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this time it was, I said, no, I want to get it over with. I'm going to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake. But I just am saying this because it was draining. I was really like.
Okay, so let me tell you about my day.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Just
Wait, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Let me just say this. Okay. So if you guys listen to the last couple podcasts, I have talked about the fact that I got my school assignment changed. So I work at a different school right now. Who I work with are TK and kinder kids, and they are severely disabled. So I work in an SDC class, which is a special day class. So I'm not working with the high functioning students that I was working with that were in third, fourth, or fifth grade. I'm working with little kids that are nonverbal. Some can barely walk, some can't feed themselves. There's a lot of moaning and yelling and screaming. There's not so, and my words now are no longer complete sentences. I'm not saying, oh, put that down. We have to start working. My words are stop, work. I'm back to that whole
Wow.
stop. We rock. We don't run. Just very, staccato. But then you talk about that emotional exhaustion.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about physical, where the kid just decides to, slam their body down on the ground, and you got to pick them up. Thankfully, I work out because it's hard because they're dead weight, but I can do it. You're talking about kids that are running up the ladder to go down the slide, and then decide they want to go back down the ladder instead of going down the slide, and you have all these other kids waiting. So then I'm moving the kids and climbing up the ladder and going down the slide with them. And so honestly, when you text me one day and said, can we chat I forgot what day it was. I'm like, I'm telling you, I am exhausted. Like, to me, it's like when I babysit my grandbabies, I play with them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm tired when I'm done playing, when I'm done babysitting, because I'm not letting them go do whatever. I am engaged.
Yeah.
So for this, so you multiply this by kids, and please understand when I say this, for kids that I don't love, and I say that loosely because I have grown already in just a week to love these children, but they're not my grandbabies, right? And then you put in the fact that they're nonverbal. You put in the fact that they're, one kid today got so tired, he slammed his head down into my lap. And then when he decided I said, nope, head up. And I started to pull his head up. He bit my leg.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just saying there's like so many things I'm dealing with right now. And so when I said to you the other day, I want to get together and chat, but I am tired, and I mean it. Like, we had a podcast, we talked about this a while back, where we talked about how, I'm always full of energy. I'm not ever really that tired. I am legit tired when I get home. I mean,
Iggy, what episode is that? By the way, Iggy's here. He's doing our
hey,
sound.
Iggy.
And so what episode was that? So she could listen to it about getting energy.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
I know. I'm doing all I can. You know what? The thing is that I still wake up every day. Okay. And on that subject, really, really quickly, they're still trying to work on things so I can move back to my school site. Now, I will tell you this. Like I just said, I am growing to love these little kiddos.
Sure.
As much as I still want to go back to my old school site, if I do have to stay here, at least my mind will be like, okay, it's not a choice anymore. Like, it's not even a consideration.
You'll resign yourself to the fact of, how do I make this the best?
Yeah. And so every day I still wake up with a grateful heart. I have a job. I do get to see these kids. I think the first 2 days of working with them, I came home crying, because I can't imagine how these parents, like,
it's their life.
It's their life.
And it will be for a long time, if not forever.
Oh yeah. Because the children I work with, they're not on a road to any kind of graduation or anything like that. We're trying to get them to learn how to play with a peer, and then if they can continue that, then it's like, okay, let's see if they can write their name.
Right.
It's just it's a whole new level. And
Yeah.
I did this back in the very beginning of my career of in quotes working with children like this, but that was like 17 years ago,
Yeah.
you know, so you add 17 years to my life. It's
And 17 years of not necessarily doing that anymore. So you've
That's what I
become
mean.
accustomed to something else.
Of
to
course,
do.
that's
Yeah,
exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like a totally different game. And so, I mean, I came back fast, but
Yeah.
so anyway, I am tired, and
Look,
it's hot.
Can I change the topic to something good?
Yeah.
Because I mentioned this to you when you came in, but my daughter and son-in-law both got promoted.
I know.
this
That's
week.
awesome.
So it was just very cool because my son-in-law has actually been working. Well, I guess they've both been working towards it, but he was actually like literally on a track where interview, all that kind of stuff, and then found out on Tuesday that yes, he's getting it, and it's a brand new job because he's doing something new. I'm not going to explain it for the sake of our listeners.
Yeah, but that's great. They
it's
both
really
did in
cool
the
that-
same week.
Yeah, and then yeah, my daughter got it. Ashley got it with just she was surprised. She's wanted this thing, and she's been working hard for one day to be this, but yeah, she was actually surprised.
Right.
They actually just said, "Hey, we're going to do this." So to me, that's really fun. You know, it's really interesting because I think when I was a young person and I would see people, this is partly probably just my emotional maturity in those days too, but sometimes people would get promoted and you kind of think, why don't I get promoted? You know, how come these people get, what are they doing that I'm not? Even if we're not even in the same job, it's just when I would hear about other people getting promoted,
Right.
I would think that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's when it's your kids, it's like all I can do is just like celebrate. I'm just so very, very happy for them.
Yes,
And,
of course. I mean, I remember when Dustin was working his way up at Starbucks at one point, and then now in his new job, he becomes a project manager. It's just like you just feel this glee. You know, it's so exciting. And
Glee.
Kylie opened her own
Did you
business
just
on
use
the
the
ship.
word glee?
Glee.
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 Wow.
Kylie opened her own business on the ship.
What?
She went and bought sugar at one of the ports, and she's starting to sugar people on the ship, which is kind of like waxing. So, isn't that funny?
Oh, sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, like the waxing sugar. I thought. You sure it was sugar? She goes to all these weird ports. No, I'm kidding.
No, she's not sugaring like passengers. It's like
Okay,
the
yeah.
people she works with.
I would imagine. Yeah. And she's like saying, "Hey, welcome. By the way, come to my cabin."
Yes, exactly.
Or whatever.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's
Or I'll see you up
funny.
on top deck.
But I'm joking. It's not her business. But, you know, it's fun.
I do know. Yeah. Did you just get her fired by bringing it up on the podcast?
Well, I don't think anybody on the ship is watching it.
Oh, maybe. They might listen, though.
That's true.
All right. So it is always the hard part for me when I actually, it's hard for me to bring the topic, but I think it's equally hard. It's hard for me to bring the topic because I hope it's relevant. I hope it inspires conversation, but it's always awkward when it's not because I'm really afraid that I'm just going to sit here staring at you with nothing
Yeah.
to say.
Well, I do have a lot to say, so you can just sit there and stare at me.
Oh,
It's fine.
I'm going to go
No.
get a drink.
No, I'm going to take it all the way back to something because I know we do talk a lot, and this is why we do this. We want people to live a positive, happy, you know, choose happy kind of lifestyle. But as we talk about health and wellness, I'm going to bring it back to food.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to bring it back to food, well, first of all, let me just ask you this, and then I'm going to tell you how this all came into my head to do this. I think I already know the answer, but let's tell the listeners. When you eat something, obviously you're on this road to health and wellness. You're not, in terms of like food choices, you're not as like anal about as I am.
Yeah, I'm not strict
But-
on like, I don't even know what half of this stuff means, but like I don't have to be organic or what is it called? Fried grain, freed grain.
Yeah, grain free.
Grain free.
Yeah, fried grain.
Or what is the other thing where the cows like don't get drugs?
Oh, well, grass fed.
Grass fed.
And that's always like a thing that you should learn. If you do want to have grass fed, you should make sure the cow is grass fed and grass finished. Because just because they're grass fed doesn't mean they're not fed other things. It has to be.
Oh, in other words, they can give them like
so they can say
6 ounces of grass, and then they can go
exactly, and it's grass fed.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
But anyway,
finished.
So when you eat something, that you're not happy about, like do you tear yourself up about it, or do you just move on?
I can tell you my history. I would tear myself up about a little bit. Like I'm talking 20 years ago or whatever. I would really get upset at myself if I did anything that made me shameful.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I mean honestly, that's what it comes down to. Is I feel like I just can't believe I did that, and I get frustrated with myself and so on. But I would say now, no, I don't. I do talk to someone every day. I've told you about this. I don't know if I've told the listeners, but there's someone that I contact every single day, and I review my day from the day before. And if I feel like I was out of control, I have to let it go. I have to let him know. But I don't beat myself up. I'm not sure how far you want to go down that road, but I don't beat myself up. But I'm aware when I did something that makes me like when I know I went too far on whatever it was.
Well, my thing is like I've learned over the years that, and this is I have a point, but getting on what you're saying, my thing that I've learned over the years is the stress about something that you've eaten causes more distress on your body than the actual food in and of itself. So like I used to do that. I used to just be very down on myself if I decided that I was going to eat something bad, and then I would just like, oh my gosh, now I have to work out more tomorrow. And that's just not the right mindset. You should enjoy the food that you're going to eat. If you've accepted that you're going to eat it, just eat it, enjoy it, and move on. And not.
My thing is, I definitely don't do that. So I don't get to a point where I actually feel bad about myself. It's more when I share it with somebody, it's because of accountability to remind myself, hey, I'm going to try and do better today. I just want to do better today.
Well, there's always, exactly. There's always a next day. So that's always good. The reason I thought about what I want to talk about mainly is because I started getting a lot of questions. I don't know if you know this, I don't know if I've shared this or not, but I sell Modere products. And one of the things that they've recently done is called the 5-day drop. And when I first heard about it, I said, I don't want to have any part of that. I don't want to be, because what it was is you can lose 5 pounds in 5 days.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
what it was.
5 days, 5 pounds in 5 days. And I said, I am not about fad diets. I'm not about trying to quickly lose weight, because it was even promoted because it started before summer, and they're like, do you have a
Get your bikini
vacation?
body.
Yeah. Do you have a vacation you want to go on and lose the 5 pounds, a wedding, vacation, bikini. And I'm like, nope, not about this. Not even remotely interested in sharing this collection, if you will. And then as people started doing it within my group of Modere people, they started sharing about how they felt, and they started sharing about how their digestion was better and the energy they got. And then when they were off of it, they were able to keep weight off depending on what they lost. And their whole mind shift changed toward food, and they realized what they were eating that wasn't helpful for the body, and then what was helpful for their body. And so people started sharing it more like, I don't look at this like a 5-day drop. I look at like this is a reset, or like a gut reset or whatever. And so I started listening more and more of what people were sharing. I ended up saying, okay, I could be a part of that. Like if it's going to give me more energy, if it's going to make me more mindful about food. I know Peter said that he did want to drop weight. My goal wasn't to drop weight. I just wanted to experience it so that if I did share it, I can tell somebody what it was. He ended up losing 9.5 pounds in that 5 days. But he said every day I checked in with him, how are you feeling? Do you feel, and because you also get a PDF of the food suggestions, so you basically eat 6 times a day, small meals. And so, and they're very healthy kind of meals I would already be eating. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Anyway, so the reason I brought that up is that we both felt really good. I felt great. I went back. It was a big light bulb moment how many times I reached back into my cupboard to get a piece of dark chocolate because I couldn't do this on this diet.
Oh, right.
So to speak, diet.
This
Reset.
this reset. This 1 week.
I guess you could do it actually because there wasn't really any no, don't do this. But what it is this the products in it were revitalized, something I already take. Collagen, what I already take. Digestive enzymes, which I didn't take, but I started taking for that week. And then the other one was Phyto Greens, which is just a green drink that has many, many nutrients. So it's a very, very healthy
I'm sorry.
thing.
I'm looking at Iggy going, these
Greens.
are all words that I don't know. So,
I will list them in the description.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's a very good boost of energy throughout your day, and then you're eating these foods. So people started messaging me after they were doing it and saying, now what do I do? Like, what do I do day 6? And what do I do when Christmas comes? What do I like? I don't want to throw everything out the water because, and so I just started thinking about, I started just walking them through stuff like, well, did you like what you were eating? What did you notice that you didn't have to have that you were eating before that wasn't good for you? And that's what I would say about the dark chocolate. Like, I realized how many times I was walking and getting a piece of dark chocolate. And then after that week, for some reason, something reset in my system where I was like, I would eat lunch and go, oh, dark chocolate. Okay. That was just a habit because I'm not even craving dark chocolate right now. So it was, yeah. So with some of these people, I was just saying, well, this is what you could do. And then it just started getting me more interested in helping people that already want to make a diet change, but don't know where to start, you know? So like for yourself, like what you and I talked about this on one podcast and I listened to it back one day and it occurred to me that I thought, cause you were talking about how late at night you would start to munch on stuff and would, and then I said to you, I called you like right after I listened to it and I said, you know what? You may not be eating enough in the morning or during the day.
And I did. I started to eat more.
Okay.
And I started to eat more and and I actually do notice a difference. So because at lunch, so I eat a couple eggs and some protein every morning and then I eat and fruit usually. And then at lunch I eat a huge salad and a protein, and usually corn, and so I'm pretty basic. So and my protein is usually whatever we made for dinner.
Dinner, exactly. Me too.
And so that's basically what I have. But it was always the focus was the salad, to be honest with you. And so what I started to do was make it so no, I'm going to do more. I'm going to try and do more regular food, like a protein or whatever that other thing is going to be. And I have definitely noticed, like last night even, I didn't eat very much because I actually wasn't all that hungry. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of full. But what's interesting about what you said about your chocolate is, I'm staring at pecans and, not pecans, what are those called?
Cashews.
Yeah, cashews. And what are the other things?
Almonds.
Almonds, yeah. And so I'm getting a master's degree, folks. Okay. So anyway, not in food. So, but what I notice is like, I walk by there and there's times that I'm absolutely not hungry, but I just like, oh, I got to get a couple of those.
Right.
And you just kind of do it over and over. I'm reminded of a story of when Ashley was small. Every time we put her in her car seat, she would always ask for her poo pad because she had like a pacifier with Winnie the Pooh on it. And she would always ask for it. She would say, she goes, poo pad, right? When she sat down. And then she weaned off of it. But then she'd sit down and she'd go poo pad.
Right.
And it was like,
it was just a habit.
It's just what she did.
Yep.
And then I realized I do that all the time. When I lost, during COVID, I gained, I ate really poorly. I was going out to eat a lot because of my work schedule at the time during COVID. And anyway, suffice it to say, I gained more. I'd never been over 200 pounds. And I was 209 or something like that. And then I lost weight and I went all the way down to 175, which was silly because, I actually liked the way I look, but I didn't necessarily like totally the way I felt. And then now I'm probably 4 pounds over what I'd like. I haven't lost everything I gained on the cruise. So, but I have lost some, but not all of it.
Yeah.
But the point is that what I did notice when I lost all that 20 some or 25, 30 pounds or whatever it was. For me, it wasn't just about, it really was not about the food. It wasn't, it wasn't about the weight. It was about, I knew what I was doing wasn't good. I wasn't healthy. I wasn't feeling good. I was still working out. And not only was I working out, but my job that I was doing was super labor intensive. And so I was a very, very busy person. But the truth is that I didn't feel good. I just didn't feel good. And I was like, I'm done. I have to change it. And once you decide I'm going to change it, I literally just said, I'm not doing any of this and this and this and this. And the biggest thing is cutting out fast food. Once you cut out fast food, I mean, that's huge. But, and so honestly, it just went to kind of the diet, for lack of a better word, diet, the way, the lifestyle that I eat that I just told you about. But I remember when you told me that, I started to increase because I even told Patty, I said, didn't I tell you that? Yeah, because I was like, I think I might need to eat more because it could just actually be that I'm hungry. Yeah. I'm actually hungry. Yeah. So why do you bring that up though? What did, or does this 5-day thing address that, or why did you bring that up?
Well, there is breakfast involved, and and people did ask me, like, I don't usually eat breakfast. Should I eat breakfast? I'm like, yeah, you should. You should do exactly what this says, because I do believe that Mom used to always say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yeah. And there was many years that I didn't eat breakfast because I wasn't hungry for it. But now that I'm fueling my body because I want it to thrive, if you will, I realize that I am going to eat it because I want to, I need to fuel it with certain things. And I do focus on protein in the morning. And then it does help for later in the evening. Because I notice when there's days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so rushed for work, I can't eat anything. And I eat something very, very, like an RX bar or whatever. And then that night, even though I've eaten the same exact lunch that I would always have, by the time dinner comes, I'm hungry. And then later that night, I feel like I need a snack. Like my body just did not get enough fuel.
So do me 2 favors then. Define for me, if you could, well, I mean, I know what a protein is, but I guess define what a protein is. And what do you mean by, okay, I wasn't getting enough protein? Like, how do you know when you get enough?
Okay, well, for example, you don't know if you're getting, I mean, you do know if you count your macros, but, like what I would eat is like, he looked at me, for those of you listening, he looked at me like, what the heck is a macro?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, if you're not counting like what the calories are, the fat grams are, the protein, those are all like, so for me, for my body, I want to get in at least, I'm trying to get in about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. Sometimes that's very hard to do, but if I start my day and bulk it up, then I will. Like when I started eating more of the paleo lifestyle, it was, just giving up grains, giving up sugar, giving up soy, giving up dairy. But I would eat maybe not so much of a high protein breakfast. I would eat grain-free granola, which is a lot of nuts and seeds. So that was actually a lot more fat. So I'm only saying this because what I've started to learn was when you do build from breakfast, it helps satiate you through the day.
Why can't you just because I usually take a protein supplement for after I work out. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just do that? Why do we have to eat it?
Well, I do actually do protein. I put protein in my coffee because I want to make sure I do hit protein. But I also think that your body disperses it differently. And I think that your body needs to learn how to take it, to break it down, and then it distributes it through your body differently than it would just like a protein powder.
Just because it's interesting because, I hear, I listen to podcasts too. And there's something out there, I can't remember what it's called, but something greens. And supposedly it has everything you need.
AG1.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And I always think, if that's all you need, I mean, why do we have food anymore? I mean, I'm seriously.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I didn't buy AG1 because of the price. But in all honesty, when I do like the phyto greens that I was just telling you about, that's in that 5-day drop. It has like spirulina. It has chlorella. It has things in there that you're...
Cruella DeVille is in what she eats. That's crazy.
It has greens that are beneficial to our system that we cannot get in by food. Okay, even like let's just say kale and spinach. You know those words, right?
Yep. Hey Siri, what are kale?
No.
Oh shoot, it's actually a good one.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you won't get in all of the nutrients from kale and spinach by way of food,
right,
unless you really make it a point to put, and that's usually what's in my breakfast. I usually have a couple of eggs, a meat protein, and then kale or spinach. But even doing
so
that,
kale and spinach are proteins?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm just saying
they?
that's what I'm just saying when you say the AG1, I'm saying what I'm saying to you is that kale and spinach, you can't eat enough of it to get really what your body needs of it. So when you supplement with like the super greens or the phyto greens I was just talking about, or like AG1, like that is giving you things that you don't normally get in on your daily
So that's a good thing.
diet. Yeah.
But you still have to eat.
Of course.
So when you say you're counting macros, I feel like I'm actually like now talking to the expert on food. But the reason why because I do see this sometimes in Instagram, and they say, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm like, man, you got to start from the beginning, because I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So like you just used the word macro, and macro for me is like, bigger,
Yeah.
as opposed to micro.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, there's There's a microgreen and there's a macro.
God.
There's a lot. I mean,
You just opened Pandora's box.
I know. I know. I'm like, I don't get macro, micro. So, but the point that I guess what I really want to say about everything that you're saying here is, so what you're really trying to talk about is the fact that we need to be, you want people to live their best life and have all the things that they need in the way of food,
right,
in the way of eating.
Exactly. And here's how I decided to eat, because I do eat for pleasure. Trust me, I do. I mean, I'm back when I had Coco's Paleo Kitchen. A lot of people, I would do baked goods without grains and without sugar.
Right.
And then people will go, well, that's not really paleo, because paleo is if you just eat meat and greens and, and I'm like, you know what? We have refrigerators and stoves now. So this is like a very a modern day paleo type of diet. Yeah. Paleo is basically just from the Paleolithic time. It's just like caveman days, right? Yeah. And so, but I lost my train of thought. Oh, when I started eating like that, I decided my goal was to fuel my body properly, because I was going through the change, and I wanted to make sure that my bones were going to last as long as I wanted them to last and thrive in life versus just existing. And so I was like, okay, I did a lot of damage with the way I ate in my 20s. I need to like really hone in, and I eat to fuel my body. Right. And so my hashtag or my tagline with Coco's Paleo Kitchen was food with a purpose, and that's what I chose to do. And so along with this whole 5-day drop that people would say, well, do I have to eat the breakfast? Like, I'm not going to tell anybody, because everybody has their own, what makes them feel best. But I do encourage them through that particular collection. Yes, eat the breakfast, see how you feel. And then after it's over, continue eating breakfast and pretty much try to fuel it up with more protein than anything else, because that will satiate you and it will keep you sustained for a long period of time. Then you go into lunch and you're like, okay, I'm going to eat this. And then you go into dinner and you're not as starving, because you didn't starve yourself from the beginning of the day.
Right. And that, I think for me, I've always been good at breakfast. I think I'm pretty good at breakfast. Like I said, I eat 2 eggs and a protein usually, and then fruit. That's all I do. But the bigger thing I think that's important here, like if you're a listener and you're sitting here and you're struggling and you have an issue with food, is that a fair statement? Mm-hmm. I mean, just that. And so where are you going? Like,
well, my points with it is, I don't know if this is what you were going to ask, but my points with it for the listeners, first of all, if you decide to eat something that you okay, I'm going to take it back to these people that I've talked to, because this is just from experience. They're saying, oh, I feel so bad. I ate ice cream on day 9. Like, I did great on those 5 days. And then on day 9, I decided to have ice cream. And it's like, okay, so you had ice cream, accept it and move on. Like, don't beat yourself up with it. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of times our psyche plays more, it wreaks more havoc on our bodies than the actual ice cream does. So,
then you know what's interesting about the food thing? and I do mean this because I think this is a big deal, is getting down on myself in regards to eating ice cream, or I'm serious, man. If there's cookies in the house, I can't have one. That's just, it's the stupidest thing in the world that it says one serving size. It's like I cannot. I mean, I take them in twos.
Right.
So,
Right.
I dip them in the milk in twos.
Yeah.
It's like dipping them in one. It just feels like it just doesn't work. There's not enough texture in my mouth.
How big are the cookies?
Are you serious?
No, I'm just laughing because I buy the ones from Simple Mills and they're like that big, and I can have one.
It's audio.
Oh, it's like a little bigger than a quarter.
It's a little bigger than a quarter. Yeah, mine's more like $3.50. So, but anyway, the point though is that I can't. It's very difficult for me to stop. And so after a day of that or night of that, I get, I'm really sad. But here's the thing: is that I used to get really sad and really down. Well, what happens is you start, for me at least, and I've learned this, I guess, is that I start to spiral because it doesn't just discourage me about food. I get discouraged about everything. It's like all of a sudden I feel
You're
like I
I've
can't
already
do
ate
anything.
the cookies,
I failed.
so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I failed in that, and I just and you start, or at least I start telling myself, I'm a screw up.
Right.
I can't do this, and I start telling myself that kind of a story, and that kind of a story is obviously not going to be helpful to anybody, right? And so for me, I don't do that anymore. I
Good.
I say tomorrow's a new day.
Good. I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, like, or the podcast was like, you just have to. You really do have to just talk to yourself through it, and I know people have food, it's not just, it's, having like an alcoholic, there's, did I say that with a weird, like, alcoholic?
I didn't catch it, but I'm really glad you did.
I mean, like, there are people that have food, whether they're bulimic or anorexic, or they're, they're just obsessed with food. I don't know. But
right.
I think that, if you can tell yourself, okay, I ate 2 cookies, it's not that big of a deal, move on and try not to beat yourself up about it. And remember that tomorrow's a new day. It doesn't have to be Monday. You don't have to say, oh my God, I ate 2 cookies on Friday, so the weekend's ruined, I'm going to eat everything.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then I'll wait till Monday. Like, just start the next hour or
Start
the next
later.
morning.
Exactly.
And
then I think I'm going to tell you something that's really helpful for me is having somebody who I'm accountable to. And what I mean by accountability, accountability only works if I'm willing to be held accountable. Like he literally doesn't do anything to me. It's like all he does is show sympathy. And I think for me, or empathy is probably a better word, because we go back and forth, quite frankly. And so the thing that's interesting about it is, how I get out of that shame spiral is by sharing it with somebody who I trust. And if I'm able to share, man, I just blew it. And this is where I blew it in, and I can share it in many areas of my life. Then he, in turn, he doesn't really say anything, but it's out of my head.
For sure.
And I can't be attacked by it, because that's the thing, is that I just keep getting beaten up.
Yeah.
And
I think that's huge, because I think that a lot of people, even on just these people that my Instagram fans, I guess I can call them, they will say that to me, like, oh, well, the girl that said that she had the ice cream, I can't believe that, and it's just like, you just say, okay, you have the ice cream, and her just saying it, and you can already tell that she's like, okay, thank you, I needed to hear, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
For like, and then we're going into the holiday season, and then people were like, how am I going to wrap my head around not eating everything that's out there? It's like, well, you can do one of 2 things. You can eat the things, and then you can just say that was a day and be done. Or you can set yourself up for not eating the things by doing what I do. I take everything that I know that I want to eat and makes me feel good. I take it to the potlucks or to the wherever we go. Or you can even eat before you go. That way you're not starving, and then you can eat a little bit of what's out there being served, unless you're you, and then just say, okay, well, I'm just going to eat again. Really? No, just kidding.
Well, what's interesting is that when I do the holiday thing now, I think another thing that's interesting about that is, because this is going to drop right near that time. And so when you're dealing with the holiday stuff, all I can say is that you can you can honestly decide right now, I'm going to eat everything, but I don't need to eat a ton of it.
Exactly.
You know, I can try to have a little bit of everything. And then the other thing that I tell myself, this is a new thing, and I honestly, I think it has to do with my age. You know, I'm just growing up. Is I can eat this tomorrow. There's always tons. You know what I mean? In other words, it's like, okay, this is not my last Thanksgiving. It's not my last
Exactly.
Christmas, and it's not even the last time I'm probably going to eat this meal.
Well, there's something that you said many, many years ago, and you and I both, we talked about this, where we don't have to eat everything on our plate. You can stop
Oh,
when
that's
you're
huge.
when you're almost full. You don't want to be full. When you're almost full,
So
you
when
can
you're
stop
satisfied.
and you're satisfied. And then you can say, so I can just wrap this up, put it in the fridge. And if I get hungry later, I can eat it. And 9 times out of 10, you're not hungry because you
Right.
actually are satisfied, you know, and then your brain registers that you're now full and you didn't overeat it.
And sadly, if you eat until you're full,
Then
then
you-
that's when we usually feel more full
because then
and
you're
overfull.
because then your brain even like it takes you still 30 minutes to realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because of your digestion and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
But I also wanted to say this too, just real quick. I also wanted to say, because let's just say you are on this healthy path, and let's just say even, you know, again, I'm going back to the people that did the 5-day reset. Like, they started to understand and know what made them feel good. So those are things that you could even ask yourself. Like, if I eat this, am I going to feel good afterwards? Or
Yeah.
am I going to feel bad? And then you can decide, you know what, that is so good. And I only have it at Thanksgiving. I don't care if I feel bad about it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mean bad, like mentally. I mean bad, like my stomach might hurt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Sure.
like I told you, I take the kids to go get Yogurtland, and inevitably 3 hours later, I have an upset stomach just because of the dairy. But it's okay. I know that's going to happen because I want to go with my grandkids to go get Yogurtland. But so you have to just ask yourself these questions. Just ask yourself, is what I'm going to eat going to make me feel good or bad?
Yeah.
And
Well,
be
it's
okay with
interesting.
whatever.
And get addicted to good.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, once you start to feel good,
Once-
it just is like, I can't imagine not. I remember the
Exactly.
days when I'm talking about 20 some years ago. It's been a long time. It's probably longer than that. But where I would always eat till beyond full, always. And every day it's like I just sit on the couch like a lump. I mean, I still worked out. I still ran 5 miles a day. I still did all this stuff, but I still would eat to that point where I felt just gross.
Yeah.
And I just felt gross. And then I don't remember how it all happened, but without getting into every detail, it's irrelevant. I started to learn, no, I need to curb what I'm eating. I don't
Yeah.
need to eat this much.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, I do not want to go back.
I don't want to feel like that
Yeah, I
again.
don't want to
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
that. It honestly is no longer appealing.
Exactly.
It just doesn't feel good. It's like
Exactly.
it's just a gross feeling.
Right.
And even if I'm inching there, and Patty and I have done this when we go out to eat sometimes and we eat a little bit more, and sometimes we'll go, ooh, I ate more than I wanted
Yeah.
to. And it's not even close to what I used to be.
Right.
But
But and that's the thing is, like, once you start getting on that whole path of like feeling good, just the smallest thing will throw you off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I don't know if you're listening and you're having like, you're thinking, you know, I really do want to start eating better. I want to, you know, get on a healthier path. I want to feel good. I want to feel good on a daily basis. I would start with something small. You know, I did talk about this 5-day gut reset thing, but let's just say you're not doing that and you just go, I just want to start tomorrow feeling better. I don't know where to start. And I would just start with breakfast. I would just make it a change for breakfast. Maybe add in more protein on your breakfast, you know, starting tomorrow or whatever day you want to start. Do it for a week or two and then say, okay, now let's tackle lunch. What am I doing for lunch that is maybe not making me feel as good as I want to feel? And just pull that one thing out and add in something a little healthier, you know?
But I love the idea of adding something rather than subtracting, because I think most people, when we
100%,
think of changing our food lifestyle, it's like, that means I can't eat the ice cream anymore, or that means I can't do that. And it's like, if you start with that, you're going to struggle because you're just going to crave it like mad.
Yeah.
So if you start introducing things that are healthy and happy, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I know for me, just eating more for lunch did make a difference. I never talked about it. I think I did tell you once. I said, "Oh, I have." Didn't I tell you?
I think, guys, after we talked about it, you go, "Okay, that makes sense. I think I'm going to try that."
Yeah, and it has made a difference in how I feel at dinner. But tomorrow I may call you and say, yeah, I had a bunch of cookies. We'll see.
And that's okay.
We'll see. Well, even if it, and see, the thing for me is that if we're trying to say, hey to you out there, live your best life, we're just wanting you to be able to experience this. And I think all of us have struggled at one point or another with eating or how we eat. And even our mom, who has, to me, never been unhealthy. She walks, she's never been really active, but she's healthy and she eats pretty healthy.
Right.
And even she will say, oh gosh, I've gained a little weight.
Yeah.
But then she just makes some little changes. And I think everybody struggles at one, at some level. There's probably a scale. And so we just want to say to you, you can do it. We're here with you.
Yeah.
And actually we'd love to hear from you. And on that note, I'm at Benny Gonzalez, BennieGonzales. Did I ask you guys this earlier? Am I Benny.Gonzalez? I'm just Benny Gonzalez. Yeah. And you are?
Daily dose of _Coco.
Daily dose of _
We'll put them in the
Coco.
descriptions this
yeah,
time.
they'll be in the descriptions this time. And we would love to hear from you guys. Love to have your responses to this. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking.
Absolutely.
So thank you. I'm hoping that this is gonna help everybody, but honestly, I'm thinking about it for myself too, and just being more intentional about certain things. And I love the idea of just saying, I just want to feel good. It's not really about the.
I mean, we didn't even get into the whole thing of what one particular food could actually be ailing you in some way. Like there's certain things that make you inflamed and all that kind of stuff. But if we just start with like baby step your way, adding in a good thing, a little more protein for breakfast maybe, and adding in some good stuff. And this is a good time to say goodbye because there's the weed eater is coming.
But that's a great subject to introduce at another time. So if you've liked this, please share it with your friends on your social media profiles. Please let us know. Please like it on Instagram, or on Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe to, make a comment. All that stuff is super helpful for us.
Super helpful. Again, share it with friends if you're finding something that's helpful. We would love that.
We would love that. So we're very glad you're listening. We're very glad you're with us. And we want you to live your best life.
Yes.
Make it a great week.
All right. Do that.
Ciao.
Bye.